Here we go, 10 in a row. Here we go. I can't sing that anymore. Okay, let's get this party started. Hello guys, welcome to Mark Shrimp Tanks. Today we're going to do things a little bit different. I'm actually going to answer some questions today from my YouTube channel because sometimes I get questions, guys, that do deserve a video, but I just don't have the time to make the video. So today's one is very, very important, and we're going to have a look at it right now. But guys, I think what I'll do first is, gotta love some coffee in the morning. What I'll do first is I'll remove this sweatshirt. It looks cool on the videos, but I'm so hot, right? So let's get rid of this top. Let's see, how does that look? You know, my wife always says to me I look like a child when I wear this top, but I quite like it. I'm going to not wear my cap for the rest of the video because I'm quite conscious about me being bald. But to be honest, guys, I'm not as bald as I think I am. I am bald, but it's part of life. You'll have to get used to it. Let's get these glasses on as well. Oh my God, old as F. All right, guys, so here's the first question. This is in relation to my shrimp breeding video that we just did a couple of days ago, and it's from Karim E, and it says, "Hey Mark, wouldn't overfeeding the tank with powder get high levels of nitrate and nitrite, which are bad for shrimp?" And he's got a question mark. And his question is correct, guys. You will get higher nitrates and higher nitrate. You will get ammonia as well. Anything that you add to the tank that is a food source, if you add it to the tank, it's going to add to the nutrient build-up that you will get in a tank, right? And that's what we're relying on to absolutely cover the inside, everything in the tank with biofilm. That's how this works, right? Karim is correct when he says, won't this increase the nitrite and nitrate levels as well? And the answer again is yes, because as I said there, this is what we're basically looking for, is something that helps biofilm grow, right? And nothing does that as good as nitrites and nitrates. And this is where, guys, you have to measure it against the amount of shrimp that you have in the tank. And I'll give you an example of this. If I have 5 shrimp in a tank, I'm not going to go in there every day and I'm not going to throw in tons of food. But if any of you guys are aquascapers or you do like planted tanks, you will know what the EI dosing method is, right? You put so much stuff in and then you have to take so much out through water changes. Now this is something I didn't mention in my other video the other day, which I probably should have, thinking about it, which is quite important. I'll make a video about this topic in I don't know, in a few weeks time, just to cover it a little bit more in detail. But to cover it more in this Q&A today, what it basically is, guys, if you're adding stuff to the tank, you also should remove stuff from the tank, right? And how do you do that? You do it with water changes. Right, so I haven't talked about this specifically, the way I do my water changes now with this feeding regime, because it is a little bit different. If you have neocaridina, you need to do bigger water changes because you're adding more food, right? And guys, I've noticed as well, before, for example, we used to add things like crushed coral and all types of different stuff to the tank to try and get the pH to stable and blah, 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 because we used to think it would affect the molting of the shrimp, right? And I'm starting to think that isn't true anymore. Like right now, if I had to set up another tank with 4 neos, basically, I don't think I would add crushed coral as an example. All you need, right, is a tank with substrate, a filter. I would always go with some plants, and you need a KH and GH reading in your water supply for neos. You need a KH reading, carbon hardness reading in your water supply, definitely for neos, right? And how this is relevant is if you're adding more food to the tank, the shrimp will start to produce more waste as well. That will also add to the biofilm buildup. But guys, you actually can get away with bigger water changes than you think you do, because you're actually feeding the shrimp more of the stuff that they need to molt the shell, for example. I think it's probably more to do with diet, why shrimp have bad bolts than things that we add to the tank, like stuff that's missing from the water. I think it's poor diet that leads to a lot of issues. Right, so Kareem, that was an awesome, awesome comment. So what I do in my shrimp room, guys, is I do 25 to 30% water changes in all my Neo tanks now. Right, I have one specific day. I do mine on a Friday, so mine was yesterday. I do all the water changes, and I've not noticed any dead shrimp at all. Right, so this method works. It's awesome. For my bay shrimp tanks, and this is where it gets complicated, guys, is because you can't do these water changes quite the same. So you really have to watch the amounts that you put in the tank. If you start feeding a lot and then you start doing big water changes, you will still see dead shrimp. Right, and I think the reason because of this is soft water shrimp tanks, there is an issue with pH changing every single time you do the water change. Right, and you can kind of negate this problem a little bit by dripping the water back in, but every time you do a big water change, you're taking the elements out of the water that lower the pH. And you know where I'm going with this, you can see. So, in a nutshell, with Neos you can do pretty nice, decent sized water changes. Just watch what you feed. Use your eyes, watch the shrimp as well. See how they react to the amount of food that you're putting in. Do your water changes, as I said, I'm doing mine once a week. And do the same with your bay shrimp, but keep an eye on your water changes. Watch the shrimp. I do much, much less. It's like 10% a week or something I do with my bay shrimp. But I also don't feed them the same as I do my Neos. Neos are completely different. Okay, so that was an awesome question. Thank you, Karim. By the way, guys, as well, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if I think it's worthy of a little clip in a video like this, I'll add it as well. All right, guys, let's have a little drink of coffee while we answer these questions. And this one is from Mark Mueller, and it's on the same video. He says, I know in general people don't like to keep fish with their shrimp, but I introduced a group of autos to my tank and they help to make sure extra food gets processed into material. Let me see, what does it say, read more? Oh, it's a bigger comment. Well, it was a big comment, it's like the entire page. Look. The crux of it is right. Let me see, let me tank, because I'm wearing glasses, I can't see with my eyeballs. The food gets processed into material my plants can't eat, that's the crux of it, right? You want to be able to feed more to support the microfauna. Yeah, he's got the crux of it. But not so much that you get spikes. Right? There's a big issue with the bay shrimp tanks like we talked about already. It's also about balance. I'm an aquascaper, so I like my glass clean, but I just keep my front and back glass clean and leave the sides to get funked up. Funked up, I said, guys. Where did I... Let me see... This is the problem that I have with glasses as I lose focus of what I'm looking at. I also think you're onto something with the ceramic media. He's talking about something we talked about in the ceramic bio-rings for adding more biofilm for baby to climb out. You guys have probably seen that already. I do all my hardscape with lava rock and it makes a good amount of biofilm. Lava rock is cool. With the time and experience, you get clean, consistent plant growth biofilm where it should be. Great videos as always, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much, sir. That was, I don't mean blah, 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 as in he's talking too much. I mean, the question is huge. Right, where do you start with a question like that? His main point of his question was, is the fish enough if he feeds his fish enough? Is the fish waste enough? And for us, with the idea that we have, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Guys, I'm talking about mass breeding shrimp here. I'm not talking about having a tank with some guppies and some shrimp in the bottom. I'm talking about just mass breeding shrimp. I'm not saying that you can't make this work with fish, but what I mean, guys, is if you target your tank and you basically feed the entire system, instead of just concentrating on feeding the shrimp or the fish, if you feed the entire tank, if you cover every single surface in the tank with food, you get lots and lots of biofilm. Biofilm is amazing stuff. It's like a matrix of proteins and algae and protozoa. You get a lot of stuff in biofilm, and the shrimp munch through it, right? Their hands are basically like this, guys. Look, if you imagine that my hands are like fans, and I have a fan on each side of my hand, they're like this, constantly just grabbing stuff off the biofilm into the mouth. Into the mouth. I'll put an image up here actually. I think I have some macro footage I had the other day right? And they're just constantly like this, right? It's very evident in this macro footage that I put up because the shrimp is feeding on green biofilm, green algae, and you can actually see where it goes in the green algae and it goes into its system. So that was an awesome comment. Thank you, Mark Muller. Again, guys, if you have a question, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll answer if I think it's worthy of an answer in a video like this. I always answer all my questions anyway, normally, but you guys know what I mean. All right, guys, this was a comment from Randy, and it was, the crux of the comment was he had been using Reptomine and in his tanks for doing the same thing that we were talking about with the feeding the biofilm, feeding the tank. And guys, it doesn't have to be flakes. You could probably use any food, right? The important thing is here that you're making it powdered so that it covers the entire surface of anything, of everything, not anything, right? Because you want biofilm to grow on every surface. When shrimp are small, as an example, when they're very, very small, when they're just born, they're like 1 mil, 1.5 mil. They're absolutely tiny, right? And I've actually witnessed it firsthand where a baby shrimp won't move for at least a week sometimes. Right? They'll stay in the same little bit. Right? It's important that you're feeding every corner of the tank to make sure that these tiny little baby shrimp get enough food to survive, right? Because I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they're not feeding the baby shrimp enough. So what happens is baby shrimp, when they're small, they molt an awful lot. A lot of people don't know this either, is a small shrimp, after they're born, they can actually molt almost every single day because they grow so fast, right? A shrimp will go from being, 1.5 mil to 2 centimeters within 2 months. Right, so they're literally shedding and changing their shell hundreds of times in that process. Okay, so it's important that you get the food everywhere in the tank. I think I'm making that quite clear in this video, guys. It's important that you get the food everywhere in the tank. What I would say is important is try and get the highest quality food that you can. Right, read the labels, see what's in it. A lot of just normal shrimp, goldfish flaked food is perfectly acceptable, right? But if you want to go like levels up, go for stuff like cichlid flakes, stuff that's quite high in protein, discus flakes, stuff like that. But is it necessary? 100% no. Just get what you can afford. More coffee, please. All right, guys, this was a comment from Quickzy. Quickzy sounds like a name from someone that would have a first-person shooter channel, maybe Call of Duty or something like that. His comment, right, it wasn't a question, it was a comment, but I'm going to address it anyway because it is important. He says Bacter AE helps with biofilm also, right? And I do agree, Bacter AE does help with biofilm also, but there's an issue with Bacter AE in that it has bacteria in it. Right, I don't want to add bacterial load to my tanks. Guys, I've actually thought about this quite a lot recently, right? And in a way where I'm actually going to buy a canister filter with a UV filter built into it, where its sole purpose is going to be to pass the tank's water through it to clean, to sterilize the water basically as it goes through, right? And I'm talking about killing pathogens. And I'm not really looking to add stuff to the tank like Bacter AE that has bacteria already in it, because as I said, I don't want to add more stuff into it that can complicate things. I'm concentrating this year on water quality, how good I can get my water quality, how good I can get to be clean basically. And you'll see a lot of that as well in the next few months, because I do plan to change a lot of my tanks over to newer substrates, stuff that is proven to clean your water better and lasts a little bit longer. So yeah. This comment was from Crymore Shrimp. Crymore Shrimp is a Polish guy. He actually has quite a good shrimp channel, guys. If you want to go over and check out, his name is Crymore Shrimp. And his comment was, this is a very good video, Mark. Basics that a lot of us experienced breeders forget. Keep on doing such videos. Big thank you, Crymore Shrimp. There was another comment from someone as well. Let me see. I wanted to cover in this video because If it wasn't for this guy, I probably wouldn't have went back to this method, but then I saw how much success he was having doing the same thing. I actually went back and did it again, right? So there it is. Oh, right here it is. Let's see. The comment is from Mark Shelley Aquatics. Been breeding with Neos. Oh my God, Mark, have you been breeding? Mark, by the way, another awesome name. It seems to be all the Marks are the best at shrimp keying videos, I think. Mark Shelley Aquatics, it says, been feeding my Neos crushed and powder flakes for such a long time. Get in bulk, different flavours, half a pound at a time. They usually range from 40 to 60%. That's a great comment. They usually range, he usually gets 6 or 7 flavours of Ken's premium flakes. 3 to 4 pounds of food at a time. He buys a lot of food, guys. This is what I'm saying. This is how I know this method works, because I've seen other people use it and they're having like a lot of success. Mark here, for example, if you go across to his channel as well, he has a really good channel. He literally has thousands of Neos in his tanks and he's doing the same feeding method. Get that flake food into there and you'll have tons and tons of shrimp. Another good comment here was from Brian Dotson. He said, how often do you feed the powdered food? Or did I miss that in the video? Yeah, I probably didn't say it in the video. Guys, you've got to use your peanut here. Look at the tanks. Just do the same guesstimate that we've always done with feeding shrimp. Use your eyes, watch the shrimp. If they're active, feeding, add more food the next day. Watch them again, use your eyes, watch them at the active feeding. If you're putting food in, guys, and the shrimp are very inactive, lethargic, yeah, maybe not put so much food in the next time. Let us pray. Super Jazz 1 has a great question as well. This is all relating to this last video too, which is pretty awesome. One thing I struggle with my Caridina tanks is to grow biofilm. Yeah, we all have that struggle. Guys, if you're wondering why that is, it's because the pH suppresses biofilm. They start off with green algae and diatoms, but after a few months the glass is clear. Might give this one a try. That is what it is. Tanks are more vivid when you first get them, right? When you set up a tank in the beginning with an active substrate, for example, the active substrate in the tank will literally suck everything out of the water within the first few weeks. If you add minerals to it, it's actually readable. You can take a TDS reading and you say, wow, my TDS is dropping like a bomb here. That is what it is. So when you're adding stuff in the beginning, or if the soil holds a lot of nutrients in the beginning, tanks can like really flourish with a lot of green algae, string algae, and biofilm like mad in the beginning, and then you'll see it start to tail off. But if you keep on doing the powdered food stuff, you can actually keep it going, right? So yeah, that's an awesome question. Thank you, Super Jazz 1. Hunter S leaves a great comment on this channel as well in the same video. He says a lot of cheaper flakes are high in phosphates, guys. So that's probably why we get lots and lots of good algae growth with it, because phosphates actually promote algae growth a little bit as well. Other things, guys, you can do for to promote algae growth and to promote biofilm growth. You know what? I can't wait to get rid of these glasses or get a bigger pair so I'm not squinting my eyes like this all the time because I look angry when I'm talking. I'm not angry, look. I just can't see the camera. Let's try this for a second. Oh my God, I'm so blind. I can't even see the screen on this. Yeah, we're talking about biofilm there, weren't we? Tips, guys. Another tip I haven't actually mentioned, how to increase your biofilm even more. This will probably be a separate video too, but because we're talking about, I think I just mentioned it here too. I got this tip from my friend Peter, and that was to slow the flow in your filters, right? So there's the question there. It's basically, can you overfilter a shrimp tank? And the answer is, yes, you can. You can. If you slow the flow, guys, you slow down the cycle, basically. The cycle gets slower, it stops processing so much of the nitrates, ammonia, whatever, and that is actually visibly noticeable on your glass, right? So if you slow down the flow, like I've done in like all of my tanks, you will see biofilm starting to grow more as well, right? So that was an awesome tip from my friend Peter. If you're watching, hello Peter. Guys, so I hope you've enjoyed today's video. It's been a little bit different. I have eyebolic surgery in this eye on Tuesday, which means I probably won't be making a YouTube video for another week or two after this one, right? So I want you to leave all your well wishes in the comment section below. And guys, I want to wish you a lovely, lovely life and basically live long and prosper. Right, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. How do you work this